share my screen quick. Okay, so last night around midnight, just 7:15 GMT, I think that's like 12:15. I was listening to there's a signal from KO Belize that I heard, that shows the little L thing above Guatemala. That's a thing. And these other things that have minutes on them,
Yeah.
those are my signal. I was sending them out on different shortwave ham radio bands. And those are automated stations that were automatically reporting that they heard my signal.
Okay.
And I
Very
sometimes
cool.
I even get into like Antarctica and more into South America sometimes. But I usually do pretty well into like Hawaii, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, etc., up into
Yeah.
Alaska.
And by the way, I see the Azores chimed in there at 16 minutes as well. So yeah.
Right. So and then I do get into France, Germany, Spain, and stuff. It depends on how propagation, the atmospherics, how the atmospherics are. But that might be of interest. So
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I that's something I do as a hobby. I'm pretty much on FT8 all the time. Of course, now I'll never get rid of this. Stop share. Oh, screen sharing has stopped. Okay, good. All right. Find your home. So there's things that you have some real estate offerings. I see on the website. Oh, and now I should be able to show. If you go to their website, you see these locations. Keep vanishing. Belize, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, Panama, Portugal.
Right.
And so a lot of these are in the tropics. Is that weather, is that like unbearably hot this time of year, or is it always, does it have seasons?
Yeah, it's great question. It really depends upon a couple different factors. The biggest factor in the tropics for the weather is actually elevation. If you're on the coast, it can be, hot and humid on the Caribbean side, and then a lot of the year hot and dry on the Pacific coast. So you can kind of see the geography. If you start, say, in Panama, you've got jungle. Let's start on the Pacific Ocean. You've got jungle at the beach. And by the time you get up to, Mexico and Cabo San Lucas, you've got desert on the beach. And so you've got this transition of geography from jungle to desert along the way. And places like Costa Rica, Nicaragua, El Salvador tend to have what I would call a Southern California climate on the Pacific Ocean. It's dry about 8 months out of the year, kind of West Texas, kind of Southern California dry. And about 4 months out of the year, it's a little bit more humid, the rainy season, the green season. The Caribbean, it's rainier longer, and so it's more jungly. But it's interesting in this time of year when it starts to get really hot in the U.S. I'm from near Washington D.C., about an hour and a half west in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, in the Shenandoah Valley. I talked to my wife yesterday. I'm down in Phoenix, where it was 113 yesterday, by the way. But my wife said. But my wife, yeah, you're in Vegas, right? But my wife said the other day it was, 97 degrees with high humidity. Whereas in a country like Belize or Costa Rica on the coast, Panama, the temperature might be in the high 80s. So it's actually this time of year 10 degrees cooler than it is, or 20 degrees cooler, or 30 degrees cooler than it is in the US. So the geography is very different. And then what's kind of interesting, when you start to get up into altitude, right? Places like Medellin, Colombia, or Quito, Ecuador. Quito is actually cold. It'll have 50 degrees at night, and 60s and 70s in the day. Cuenca probably 60s at night, 70s and 80s in the day. So depending on the elevation, you start to get these temperature bands that are very, very nice and very, very pleasant.
This weekend I went up to Mount Charleston, which is near here.
Oh, yeah.
About an hour drive, and it was in the 80s during the day, and then it got down to similar temperatures. So just driving the hill, you can escape the brutal temperatures. It's like an oven. You're worse.
I'm in Phoenix. It's an oven.
Open the door. Where's the easy bake timer?
Exactly. Yeah. But it's interesting. So weather is certainly a driving factor, for people wanting to move overseas. We see that, right? It's probably one of the two big factors, weather being one, especially people from the northern, parts of the United States and Canada, which is cold, half the year, right? And so you can move to the tropics, you can have nice warm weather year round. The other thing driving the emigration and really the expat phenomenon is cost of living and
Yeah,
quality of life.
exactly.
And I think that's something that's very hard for people to understand. I lived overseas in Nicaragua actually for 14 years, and what we found, experienced, not just found, experienced to some incredible degree, is that the cost of living dropped by more than half, maybe 2/3 of what it would cost to live in a small town in the United States, not in a big city. I'm 90 miles west of Washington, D.C. in the Shenandoah Valley. I live in a small town in West Virginia. But my cost of living dropped by half or more when I moved to Nicaragua, and my quality of life went up. And people are like, wait a minute, how does your quality of life go up, but your cost of living goes down? Just a couple examples. We would have a bag, a coffee sack of organic fruits and vegetables delivered to our home every Tuesday morning, and it was $8. If you went down to Whole Paycheck and bought a tomato, it would be $8, right? Whole Foods, right? I call it Whole Paycheck.
Uh,
Sorry, Mackie, I know you're showing up at Freedom Fest.
carton of eggs. Yeah, something like that, right?
Yeah, right? But literally a whole coffee sack of organic fruits and
Yeah.
vegetables, $8, right? And then the other thing that people don't really get, because I'd never had a maid before I moved to Nicaragua, but you're supposed to get a maid. Everyone gets a maid. There's no social services net. So if you can afford a maid, you get a maid, right? And you pay, we paid our maid about $180 a month, full-time maid. And what that meant was no chores, Kent. No chores, none, zero. Like we didn't wash, clean, nothing. And so like all of a sudden you just have this incredible free time. What do you want to do this evening? Oh, I
I'm
had a
driving
couple
in
of
my
small
car to
girls.
drive down there right now, so I guess I
You know
can.
what? I tell you what, it's driving people there. And again, it's the weather, it's the
Can I get
cost of living.
can I get there in my PT Cruiser, or is there's
Yes.
some problems to go over
Nope.
the canal zone or anything like that?
No,
Okay.
no, no. Right on down, man. Right
All
on
right.
down, all the way to Panama. Yep. We have a lot of people that drive. Actually,
Okay.
it's a long drive, but it's you
Flying is
can.
an ordeal. You're still going to be doing like a day out at least in the air or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Connection
But
flight.
but anyway, those are the factors that really drive emigration and sort of the expat phenomenon is
Yeah,
cost of
I've certainly
living.
been looking at things like that, Argentina, Paraguay, et cetera. But
Yes.
I didn't really consider the tropics seriously. So I guess it's not. I mean, Nicaragua is interesting because
Yeah.
it used to be was Sandinistas or something a million
Correct.
years ago when Reagan was around. Back
Yeah.
before in the 70s, we used to have Sandinistas. In fact, I used to be on this thing called the Manana Net, and we'd have these sailboat people they'd be out on a
Uh-huh.
yacht of some kind, and we talked to them on shortwave.
Right.
They were being boarded by the Nicaraguan Coast Guard or something, and
Okay.
they didn't get arrested or anything. They were just being inspected and everything.
Yeah.
So
Sure.
it's we just took note. I took note of that as interesting. I
Yeah. Right. Well,
guess it had a tense relationship with the U.S. So
it's interesting that we do a lot of work in Nicaragua, and I lived there for 14 years, but we work in Belize, Costa Rica, Panama, as well. And so, we're not married into any one destination, but all of these countries, right? These countries, they want the foreign investment. They may or may not agree with U.S. foreign policy, U.S. government policy kind of stuff. But in all cases, they really love Americans as people. That they enjoy us being there. They want us to be there, both as tourists and as expats. And we
especially
really,
an expat is leaving the U.S. So they've got to have a common bond if they're kind of fed up with the U.S. taxes and stuff. So
yeah,
maybe it would extend to their uh,
yeah,
leeriness about foreign policy or something too. So,
right. The way people thinking about it, exactly. Yep. Yes. Yeah. Well, you're in the estate planning business, right? I mean, that's a big part of what you do. Help.
education, we educate people. We don't do trust. The court looks
Okay.
bad.
Okay. Yeah, right. You don't actually do the work, but you educate people on the importance of the work, right? And I think that's a lot of what's happening in the region is we're seeing a lot of people make what I call generational wealth stewardship decisions, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of it, has to do with the diversification of their, their assets, but not just like, investment assets, but like the protection of the most important asset we have, which is ourselves, right?
Right.
And so when we own a home overseas, maybe we use it a couple weeks a year as a vacation property. We can rent it out when we're not there. But now we actually have a place that we can go, right? I mean, if stuff hits the fan, we
And
have
those
a
prices,
plan
I
B.
noticed that the packages you're putting together, this package is as low as 109,000, at the low end, and then it could go up to 500,000 or something for the
Sure.
fund. But
Yeah.
typically, a couple 150, 200, that kind of thing. There
Right.
was an interesting thing, and it's just I'm ignorant. You had like it looked like hotel rooms or something. Yeah, like this residences, Belize Marriott residences. Does
Right.
that come with maid service, or how does that work? Or
Yeah, so those are ownership that you actually own it. You get title to the property. It's whole
yeah,
ownership, so you buy it, you own it. You can move into it, you can live in it. Most people aren't going to live in a Marriott hotel,
yeah,
so you can use it as a vacation property, a couple, 4 or 5 weeks a year, 6 weeks a year, whatever, and then it's rented by Marriott for the rest of the year, and that income would then come to you as the owner of that property. So yeah, it's a hotel, right? So you
and
made service
these are
and
destinations, vacation destinations.
yeah, that particular property is more of an investment and vacation property as opposed to a property that you would actually live in. And we do both. I mean, we have both. We serve both types of consumers.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you have like traditional houses. I know. There's some
Yes.
eco villages was a notable thing. I
Yeah.
know the eco villages in Southern California, and I could tell many amusing stories about their relations with their neighbors. But how is that working? These eco villages.
Very well. We've got a couple different varieties. We have one in Belize, which is over the water. These are over the ocean. It's a lagoon, but you're over the water. Tiny homes. They're solar and connected to the grid, so they're a hybrid, so to speak. Those are a beautiful little neighborhood of about 20 homes. At Grand Pacifica, we have an entire neighborhood of what is to be 100 homes. I think there's 76, 77 in there now. They're totally off grid. They are 100% solar. We've got some oceanfront homes right across the street that are hybrid again. So you have solar and tied to the grid, but very affordable.
Yeah,
150,000 to
right.
be a couple hundred yards from the ocean,
So
under 500,000.
129,000. That maybe it was a little further away. Maybe I
Yeah,
was in Chicago or something. So you can do it for a song. Then
right.
there's something called modern innovative living.
Yes.
What is that? How does that distinct from? Is that more high tech or something?
It is. It's more of a smart home as opposed to, so it's a hybrid home, a lot of solar, but tied into the grid as well.
Yeah,
But then built in and around an agricultural component with all kinds of fruit trees and other types of food producing plants as part of the common area, so that you get this an integrated lifestyle. And those homes are about 500-600 yards from the ocean. So yeah, I mean,
those are still in the low 100.
yeah,
So that's the price there.
exactly.
So
Yeah, very affordable.
very good.
Yep.
Yeah. Let me take all my life savings out. One nickel to. Anyway, yeah.
If you can ship them, we'll take them. Okay. Uh, huh.
Well, do you have
yeah.
any projects, new things that maybe aren't reflected on the website so much, or anything you're looking at? Oh,
You know,
Portugal. Tell me about Europe. What's going on there?
yeah, yeah. We purchased a bed and breakfast in the Azores, which is the
Oh,
Portuguese islands about halfway across the Atlantic. We purchased it with the idea that we would serve consumers looking for the golden visa, which is a residency program in Portugal. They changed the law after we bought the bed and breakfast. It's a beautiful property. It operates in the black, so we're okay with it. But we may divest of it at some point in the future because it's not really a core asset of what we do as a business. The other thing we do, mentioning the golden visa, which is not available through a real estate investment anymore in Portugal, we do build residency packages for people who want We call it a Plan B residency. And we do that with a teak investment in Nicaragua, but more so in Panama. A lot of folks really like the Panama residency. And so for about $22,000, you can get an investment in about a half an acre of teak and a permanent residency in Panama. And so what we've seen is a lot of folks who are, again, looking for that insurance. I call it freedom insurance, right? You've got a residency in another country, and then you've got a nice teak investment that qualifies you for it. But then in and of itself, the teak investment, is
Are
a
any of those
wonderful
countries
investment.
less likely to drag you off like Julian Assange? Not that
Look,
like you're going to betray your country or anything, but just,
yeah, I mean, you got to look at extradition treaties, and you got to look at how countries interface with the U.S. Panama, because of the canal and because of a 100-year history with the U.S. military and other institutions, is very tied to the United States. They use the U.S. dollar as their currency. So I would say Panama's, a very, very tied to the U.S. A country like Nicaragua, generally votes against the U.S. and the UN, right? I mean, they've got a pretty strong, long history of whatever the U.S. votes for, they vote against, or vice versa. And so, if you're looking for a place that would give you, sort of the I'm not sure what the right word is, but the
fighting extradition
opposition,
yeah.
right? Yeah, right.
Albania would probably be at the top of that, but who wants to live there?
Yeah, but Nicaragua actually is a wonderful place to live, and lived there for 14 years. And it's in, it's close, it's easy to get to. It's 2 hours from Miami, 3 hours from Houston, right? So access is wonderful. And again, they
Does
really,
Amazon deliver to these places usually?
yes, you get all your Amazon stuff through PO boxes in Miami generally, and it's a freight forwarding service that then delivers product to those countries. Yeah, absolutely. Right. US TV channels, go see US movies, in English, in big, beautiful movie theaters. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, that's the kind of stuff, we always encourage people to come visit. Like,
Sure.
come visit,
Like I
check it
said,
out.
Belize is already English speaking. So,
Correct. Yes,
and
absolutely.
Panama, I don't know about Panama or Nicaragua. I guess it'd be Spanish. Or,
It is, but a lot of folks speak English in all of Central America. I mean, it really is the second language for almost everybody,
yeah.
and many people speak it. Yeah.
Muy
Yeah.
bueno.
Muy bueno. That's right. That's right. Hey, and Kent, if it's okay, I'd just like to give a shameless plug for my new book. May I do that?
Oh, absolutely. You
So
got 7 minutes. You got 7 minutes left.
Well, this will take like 30 seconds. No,
All right.
I just published my first book. It's on Amazon. Michael K. Cobb is how you can find it. Just look up Michael K. Cobb. You can put the K in there. It's How to Buy Your Home Overseas and Get It Right the First Time. And it releases on July 22nd. So for any of the folks listening to this, if you're thinking about buying a property overseas, anywhere, it could be Thailand, it could be France, it could be Africa, it can certainly be in Latin America. This book helps us learn how to think differently, because when we go outside our home country, the rules change, right? And so we just need to start to think differently. Some places the rules change a little bit. Canada, right? Europe, a little bit more. Latin America, a lot more, right? Thailand, a lot more, right? So basically, if you start to change how you think, you really can do a better job of buying a property overseas and get it right the first time. So yeah, the book's at Amazon. It'll release here next month, and very excited. It's already doing very, very well in Amazon. So
Pre-orders, in other words.
Pre-orders are out there, and yeah, it's been holding the #1 spot for a while and
So there's
moving
a
around.
cover out there if I want to do a screenshot and put it in. I'm going to be editing this recording. Hopefully it'll record, and then
Okay.
I'll drop the cover in. Yes,
I'll have Angie send you a cover copy. Absolutely.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Any other? So Freedom Fest, you're going to attend there?
Yeah. I'm attending, and I am moderating a panel on retirement options, both domestic and overseas, Hawaii, Puerto Rico, and then just generally retirement states, and how we can get, how we can retire with, limited resources, whether it's domestically or overseas. Yep. Great panel, Saturday afternoon.
Okay. I won't be there. Howard, the co-trustee, will be there.
Okay. Well, I'll stop by and say hi to Howard then. I guess you guys will have a
I
table
don't know
there?
if he'll have a table. We're doing a media pass thing, so hence we're doing these interviews.
Got
Trying
it.
to say see this media. We did media. You got nothing to book us on, Copper.
All right. Well, you know what? I'll take a look around and maybe I'll see Howard and
Yeah. I'll have
yeah,
him drop. You should drop by. He's
wonderful.
got escape artist membership. I
Ah,
think there's some connection there with ECI. I mean, that's where you notice your name.
got
So,
it.
and he
Yep.
listens to people like the Nomad Capitalist and all that.
Excellent.
So, all right. Well, I think. Oh yeah, it's getting yellow there. This
Yeah.
is like what was that movie where their hand glowed red when they were expired? You know.
Exactly.
Run, runner. Or Logan's Run. That was it.
Logan's Run. That's right. Logan's Run.
And
Yeah.
that thing in the Vegas looks like kind of like the palm flower
Uh-huh.
that they have.
Well, Kent, thank you very much.
Sure,
I've
thank
enjoyed the
you. It's great.
conversation. And,
Yeah.
yeah. And we'll
And
get you the book.
Howard may see you at FreedomFest.
I look forward to meeting him and we'll get you a copy of the book cover. Okay.
Yes. Sounds
All
good.
right.
Thank you.
Take
All right.
care.
Okay.
Bye-bye.